The power of silence. They test the strong, not to break you easily, but to see how much damage they can do before you finally say, enough, and when you do, it shakes them. Because your silence, it's not empty. It's packed with every truth. You swallowed every tear you wiped in solitude, every night you bled for someone who couldn't even spell loyalty, and that silence, it follows them. It whispers in their ears while they lie next to someone new, faking smiles, pretending happiness. It echoes when they compare every laugh, every conversation, every feeling to what they had with you, but nothing compares. Because you weren't a phase. You were the one. The rare soul people spend lifetimes searching for again. Now, you stay calm, not because you're cold, but because you've learned your energy is currency. And you spent too much on people who didn't deserve even your gaze, so you keep it close now. You invest in silence, in growth, in becoming the version of you no one can touch, not out of revenge, but out of evolution. You're not cold. You're selective. You don't shut down. You just stopped letting clowns rent space in your palace, because that's what they were, noise, in a life that was begging for peace. Now you found it, and you protect it like gold. No arguments, no explanations, just silence, the kind that kills egos, the kind that flips the script, the kind that makes them regret ever thinking you were disposable. You don't shout, you build, you don't chase, you focus, you don't prove your worth. You embody it. And when they see you again, richer, wiser, unshakable, they won't say a word. They'll choke on everything they never said. That's the power of silence. It doesn't announce. It doesn't apologize. It delivers the final message without a single sound. You want to know why silence hits harder than anger? Because anger burns fast. It's messy, loud, expected. It gives them a script. Calm down. You're overreacting. It wasn't like that. But silence? Silence leaves them with no script, no stage, no role to play. It traps them with nothing but their guilt. You're not giving them a fight. You're giving them a mirror. And what they see, it's brutal. Because now there's no forgiveness to hide behind. Time doesn't heal. It exposes. It reveals fake intentions and sharpens silence like a blade. Every day they don't hear from you. Every moment they realize you're not watching anymore. It eats at them. At first, they pretend. They say they've moved on, that you never mattered. But silence? It's a seed. And guilt. Guilt is fertile soil. Regret grows deep roots. And by the time it blooms, you're already gone. New city, new mind, new soul. The you they broke. Buried. The new you doesn't even flinch at their name. That's not revenge. That's rebirth. And they'll never catch up. You're not here to fix people anymore. You're not here to prove your worth to those who couldn't see it when you were offering your soul. That version of you, the one who over-explained, who made them feel safe while dying inside, is retired. Now you know. Peace is earned. And anyone who costs you that peace costs too damn much. Let them call you cold. Let them say you changed. Let them rewrite the story. You stay quiet. You stay still. Because those who scream the loudest are usually hiding the biggest mess. But those who stay calm, they've already cleaned house. You've cleaned yours. Now you keep the door locked. You were the lesson they didn't want to learn, the blessing they weren't ready to hold, and yes, sometimes silence isn't power. It's pain. That ache in your ribs when no one's looking. But you sit with it. You own it. Because if you can survive that, yours and theirs, you can survive anything. You don't run from emptiness. You let it shape you. You build a foundation no one can walk in and tear down again. Your silence isn't a prison. It's a resurrection, a shift, from being someone's option to being your own priority. So don't send that message. Don't post that quote. Don't replay the memories. Let them wonder. Let them choke on the silence you've mastered, because when they finally reach out, if they ever do, you won't be the same person they left behind. You'll be colder, stronger, cleaner, and still silent. Not because silence hurts, but because by then, it ends them. Here's the truth no one tells you. Silence is war. It's waking up heavy, mouth shut, biting back the urge to explain yourself to people who never listened. It's watching them live like they didn't dismantle your trust and walk away like it meant nothing. It's wearing a straight face while your soul screams. But the longer you stay silent, the louder your absence gets. And suddenly, it's not you begging for answers. It's them drowning in questions. Why doesn't he care? Why doesn't he speak? Why does it feel like he's not angry, just gone? That's when they spiral. Not because of what you said, but because of what you didn't. Your silence becomes the truth they can't outrun. See, you gave them a version of yourself the world rarely sees, real, raw, present. You stayed when it was hard. You forgave what broke you. You gave them access to your soul, and they treated it like a free trial. Now they're looking for you in others, but they won't find you, because you don't come in copies. You were one of one, and they knew it. But comfort made them stupid. They thought you'd always be there, loyal, silent, but reachable, until you weren't. Not for a reaction, not for attention, but because you were done. Because you realized your value isn't up for debate. That's when the game changes. Not when you screamed, not when you cried, but when you stopped. You don't need closure from those who slammed the door. You don't need apologies from those who sleep peacefully while you stayed awake. You don't need explanations from cowards who couldn't face you. What you need is silence. For them, it's punishment. For you, it's detox, because talking too long to the wrong people poisons your soul. It keeps you small. And you weren't made to be small. You were made to shatter ceilings, to walk in and silence rooms with nothing but presence. But that version of you, the powerful one, only exists when you kill the noise. So you cut the cord. You stop explaining. You stop apologizing for being deep in a shallow world. You stop giving CPR to connections that died long before you admitted it. That's not weakness. That's self-respect. And it's about time you wore that like armor. Let them wonder what changed. Let them talk. Let them lie. You stay silent, because silence is the loudest lesson they'll ever learn. The roar in your silence you want to scream, don't you? Your chest is tight. Your lungs full of fire. Your mind racing, fists clenched. You want to spit rage in every direction, make them feel just a fraction of what they carved into you. But tell me something. Did screaming ever fix it? Ever bring peace? You shout, they laugh. You break, they call you crazy. That's the setup. They push you to the edge so they can point when you fall. But here's the twist. You don't fall. You go quiet, because silence is the real weapon, colder than any curse, sharper than any scream. It burns without heat, and it lingers. They don't lose sleep over your words. They lose sleep over the silence you left behind. Because silence, it forces people to hear themselves, and most of them can't stand the sound. They betrayed you, smiled while they drained you, ghosted like you were a phase, left you asking, "What did I do wrong?" Let me tell you, people like that never cared what you gave, only what they could. Take time, energy, love, second chances, third ones, forgiveness no one earned. And when they left, they acted like you were the problem, too intense, too clingy, too much. But you weren't too much. They were too little, too weak to hold loyalty, too shallow to recognize real when it stared them in the face. And the cruel truth? They won't understand your worth until your absence becomes their prison. Not your words, your ghost. You don't make them feel it by chasing. You make them feel it by disappearing, by building, by becoming everything they swore you'd never be. Because revenge isn't rage, it's relevance. It's silence turned into power. It's elevation. They thought you'd crawl. You flew. They thought you'd beg. You built. And now, they rot in the echo you left behind. Don't mistake your silence for weakness. It's discipline. It's war with clean hands and steady eyes. It's the kind of calm that terrifies manipulators because they can't read it, can't predict it, can't control it. Your silence is a mirror, and every awful thing they did, it stares back at them. They'll remember you. Not today, not tomorrow, but on some quiet night when the noise dies down, they'll feel it.